little bit. And we live
Yeah.
now, by the way. It's about to go live right now. That'd be something good
Oh
to
my
start with.
God. Don't say anything stupid.
Here we go. It says you're live. That's what it says.
Bang.
It's awesome. I think that's an
Yeah.
awesome image. I'll pull
Yeah,
that up real fast.
it is an awesome image.
I believe that's Mount Rainier, I believe.
Yeah. That's a common image used in the flat Earth debate. That one. But
So that,
see, if you take that mountain away, if we were to get a bulldozer, all right, and flatten that mountain, so there's no mountain there.
hmm
Okay, then. So we don't have that distinct shadow, right? I can actually see on a flat plane how clouds could be underlit. I can
Right.
actually
So,
see.
Okay, how do you see it?
Well, because the way we see any object, guys, the only way we can see anything is because light bounces off things. That's the only way we see it, right? If light
yep.
didn't reflect off objects, we wouldn't see it,
hmm
right?
Right.
Now, clouds and stuff are fairly localized, right? So, and what I mean by that, like where I am here in Melbourne, if I see clouds up in the sky, the clouds are generally around Melbourne, but if you go further to the east or further to the west, whatever, you're going to have clear spots of the sky with no clouds
hmm
whatsoever. Now, I can see how that when the sun is lower in the sky, because you don't get
hmm
this underlit red lighting of the clouds phenomena in the middle of the day.
hmm
Okay, it's only first thing in the morning or late at night. Now, the light bouncing off, whether it's water, grass, trees, rooftops, swimming pools, you name it, whatever, it's bouncing off and underlighting the clouds the way it does because the sun is so much lower in the sky at
hmm
those times. So I can actually see how the sun, even though the sun is higher than the clouds, because of the angle, right, the light rays can reflect off the ground and different surfaces, because we know this already happens, and head up and light the underneath the clouds.
And you're talking about a flat Earth, like the flat Earth, just say a flat Earth?
Yes.
You,
You know how
you mean,
the globe argument says this can happen on a flat plane.
mhm.
I'm saying, to me, with my logic, it can happen on a flat plane
hmm
because the light reflects and light bounces off different surfaces and different objects and whatnot, and is splaying all over the place. So I can actually see how it does happen. Now, the phenomenon of the shadow, what you are seeing there, that I don't think can happen. But the basic underlighting of clouds, I think, can happen
You saying this particular right here cannot happen?
on a flat plane. I can't see how that can happen because of the shadow and how definite it is.
That's right.
It's like a very definite direct source of light.
But you're saying that
All right.
light can bounce off the ground to hit the mountain and then hit the clouds. To look like that. Similar.
Not on a flat plane. I can't see that happening. I can't see that happening on a
Right.
flat
But
plane. Yeah.
what
Sorry,
you're
Jimmy.
saying though is that the sun that lights the clouds from underneath can happen on a flat plane.
Yes, I can see how it can happen. Yes,
How does that happen?
I just told you.
If the sun, no, I know. Okay, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
wasn't listening. If the sun is
Okay.
always above your head, and the sun is obviously above the clouds, how can the sun cast a shadow on the bottom of the clouds?
Okay, let's forget the shadow. All right, let's just talk about the underlighting of the clouds. Okay, so don't worry about the shadow, Jimmy. Let's just talk about the clouds being lit from underneath,
hmm
like is in this photo. All right. Now, this phenomenon that we're seeing with the underlighting of the clouds, with the reddish colours and all that sort of stuff, generally only happens early in the morning or late at night. Would you agree with that, Jimmy?
Yes.
Yes. Okay then. Now, clouds too are fairly localised to your particular area. All right. So clouds don't cover the whole of Australia at any one time, or they're not covering the whole of America. Clouds are in patches. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Certain clouds, certain cloud formations. Yep.
Yeah. But in general, right? You know, clouds are kind of localised. They could be small localised or large localised, but they're still localised because there'll be clouds here, and then there'll be a clear spot, and then there'll be more clouds, and another clear spot,
Yep.
so forth and so on, all
I agree.
over the earth. All right. Now,
Yep.
because we see things, right? The only way we see things, Jimmy, through light reflecting off objects, right? That's the only way we see anything. Light reflects. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So light
Yes.
reflects off things and bounces off certain objects. Now, because this phenomenon is only happening early in the morning or late at night, okay then. Now, so this one's obviously looks to me like it's late at night. I could be wrong, could be in the morning, but I don't necessarily know the orientation of this particular photo. Mm-hmm. Let's just say it's late at night where the sun is setting, right? So the sun is low in the sky, right? Or far away, right? On a flat earth plane like this. So the sun's getting further away. So the angle is getting lower and lower and lower and lower, right? Now the light now, because it's lower in the sky, right, is bouncing, right, off different surfaces, whether that surface is water, rooftops, grass, trees, buildings, you name it, earth, dirt.
You're talking about light scatter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the light is bouncing off all these different objects, right, and getting thrown at a zillion different angles, and some of that light is going up, right, going up, lighting the underneath of the clouds. I can actually see that happening.
All right, so I'm going to say something. Do you know Chris Berry's photos of this same thing that you're talking about?
Oh, Chris Berry.
Yeah,
not really. He tried
to simulate this whole experiment that you're talking about. He tried to simulate this, and he failed. And not only did he fail, many people came and did the same experiment as he did, and proved that he lied about his own experiment.
Yes.
Now, yes.
Okay, go. Sorry.
B-Ball for Life demonstrated how he was wrong, and
Yes.
then Carlos live on one of our streams. I think it was on Crash's stream.
I saw that. Yes, I saw that.
Yes. Yep. Exactly. Mm-hmm. Now, okay, I understand what you're saying, Bandsaw. What I'm trying to say is though. When I view the sun, because I see this, what's on the screen right now, I see it every day. I see it every day because I'm just fortunate that this thing happens in my view all the time.
Yeah.
All right. The sun is above the clouds on a flat Earth, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So. Doesn't matter from my perspective, my point of view. If I'm looking at the sun and if it's going towards my vanishing point, before it goes to my vanishing point and it pops out of existence for me, and there's clouds there, why the heck am I seeing the bottom? Why am I seeing the clouds lit up from the sun?
Well, it's the angle also too. So the further away the sun gets, right, the angle gets more and more acute. Would you agree with that? Right.
Okay.
And also too, whether or not I haven't seen Chris Berry's stuff because I don't watch his stuff. But any experiment that I see. And I think this was also to mention yesterday on Darryl's stream. Nothing is scaled correctly, Jimmy. Nothing is scaled correctly. So even that experiment that Carlos did on Crash's hangout, it's not scaled correctly.
Okay.
And I
All
think
right.
scaling in any experiment that we do to try and represent something and try and imitate something, I think that is very, very important.
Oh,
Very,
you're
very
100%
important.
right, dude. Yep.
Right?
I
Very,
agree
very
with
important.
you. I agree with you.
Yeah.
But what Carlos and B Ball's experiment is that they held the light source above the clouds, okay, and
Yeah.
they could not represent what Chris Berry did. And then when they brought it below the clouds, then they were able to create that.
Yes.
So, okay. So,
Yeah.
all right.
But let me make sure I'm understanding what Bandsaw is saying, though. Are you saying that uh, that it could look like this? It could potentially look like this because of the sunlight bouncing off the ground or the lakeshore or something like that?
Right,
Yeah.
that's light scatter. So
Yes.
you're saying
Yeah.
that the light is reflecting off something else and giving what we see.
Well,
And,
light
and
does
let me make sure I
reflect off
understand one more
things.
thing, if I can. And when you say look like this, you mean even the size of the shadow and everything.
No, no,
Right.
no, no, no,
Right.
no. I'm not.
Well.
No, no. I put the shadow to one side. I can't see that. As I said at the start, I can't see the shadow happening on a flat plane. I'm just talking about the general underlighting of the clouds.
Hmm.
I can
I
see.
see.
I can see that happening.
I see what you're
You
saying.
know, yeah. So that's why I wanted to put the shadow to one
All right.
side.
Right. Exactly. All right.
Because to me the shadow is a very distinct
It's
form of
it's
light, if you know what I mean, coming directly from behind it.
beneath. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Right.
But
Exactly.
I'm just talking about the general underlighting of clouds. I can definitely see that happening on a flat plane.
Well, I mean, what
Okay.
Definitely.
what you're talking about though is just what happens no matter whether the Earth is flat or round. I mean, if you have a light source in the air, it shines light down and it bounces up. So it doesn't matter what
Yeah,
shape what shape the surface is.
yeah, yeah. But I've heard different globe people say that on a flat plane that can't happen. And I'm just saying that
They're talking specifically about this shadow. Whenever I heard them talk about it, they're saying specifically a
Mm.
shadow like this
yeah,
from a mountain.
All right. All right. All right. All right. All right. Let's say it is a flat plane. Okay.
yes,
Let's say it's a flat plane, and the sun is.
yeah.
All right. The sun is how far away? 3,000 miles away.
Well, yeah, well, that's open to conjecture as well, isn't it?
All right, let's go with the flat Earth consensus. How far away is the sun? How far? What's the elevation above my head is the sun?
They changed the answer
Yeah,
whenever we find something wrong
yeah,
about that one. So
I don't think there is a
Okay,
consensus, to be
all right.
honest
So, all right. So,
with you two.
okay. So let's just make up a number then.
Okay,
From my little thought experiment.
let's go. Let's say 25,000 miles.
so this is
20.
Yeah,
25,000 miles.
No, let's
yeah.
go
Let's
with
go
3,000
20.
miles. Let's do 3,000 miles.
Well, that's pretty close
To what?
to the Earth. 3,000.
Yeah, that's what they say.
Well, we just googled how hot the sun was,
Well, of
and
course they don't
and I
believe the sun is that.
All
Of
right.
course, you know.
So all right. So let's listen. Let's go with 3,000 miles. The sun is above our heads at 3,000 miles, right?
Okay.
Some
yeah.
of the highest clouds get to like what 25,000 miles, maybe even above that.
No, 25,000
Thousand?
feet.
No,
Not.
that's out there by the
Oh,
Himawari.
Yeah, it's feet, Jimmy.
25.
30,000. Yeah, 24.
Oh,
Say
I'm sorry.
20,000
25,000 feet is
feet
not the.
is the clouds. That's like the top of the
Yeah, it's
clouds.
like
Yeah,
way
I'm
down
sorry.
here.
Yep.
It's like that or
Yep. Yep.
something.
Yep.
You see,
That's
Yeah.
my
y'all
bad.
able to see the paint?
Yes. Yep.
You able to see a C4?
I'm sorry. Say it again.
You able to see the paint image where I'm drawing what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I messed up. Yes, 3,000 miles for the
Hmm.
sun, and then let's say 25,000 feet for the clouds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, I'm sorry, and yes, the Himawari 8 is at 22,241 feet. I'm sorry, my bad.
No, miles.
Miles.
It's miles, right?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, I
miles.
said feet. Yes, miles. Um, so at those two different elevations, if if you're standing right above them, and then the sun and those clouds were to move drastically far away, if they were heading towards the vanishing point.
Back here,
All right, this I'm sorry.
if the clouds were back here to the right.
Let's say the sun and that set of clouds. Let's say the sun is 3,000 feet above you, 3,000 miles, whatever it is.
Hmm.
All right, and then they have the clouds, and then they start pushing away from you, and they keep going further away from you till they hit the vanishing point. At what point? Why would that sun cast a shadow on the bottom of that cloud? Yes, there's scatter. There is a light scatter, but why the hell would the sun cast a shadow above something? Above, well, on the bottom side of something that is thousands of feet below it.
Because the sun's reflecting, Jimmy, off the ground.
One thing I think
I understand the scatter. Yes. No.
Yeah.
one thing I think
Okay.
you might be
But
missing, Bandsaw, is that people have already established how much light reflects from different surfaces. And the amount of light that reflects from the various surfaces is not enough to make a shadow anywhere near that, even if the angles could be right. Another thing as well, like actually addressed this already as far as from a flat Earth perspective. Let me pull up the video really fast.
Yeah, no, Darryl. I already agree that the shadow part of the
yeah, he's
thing.
talking about the light underneath the
Yeah,
cloud. He's
I'm
talking
just talking
right.
about
Yeah.
the light generally
Right.
underneath the clouds.
Right. And all right. So again, when all right, this happens to me every day because I just happen to be in like a very fortunate position. All right. When I live in Florida, so when the sun goes down, and Florida is always cloudy most of the time, especially during this time of year. All right. When the sun goes down below the clouds are lit up like a beautiful pink. I mean, it's so beautiful.
Mm,
Now, if it was
agreed.
light scatter reflecting off the Earth, would it project itself onto the bottom of those clouds through this vast view that I see? The
I'm
cloud.
not.
So
I'm not sure. I'd really like to see an
no, there
experiment of it
wouldn't be
scaled
no.
properly. I
The
really would.
and again, you'd have to say the light scatter would be bouncing off a great distance to project itself on the bottom of the clouds.
Yeah.
So it makes more sense. I could be wrong. I'm not, but I'm just saying I could be wrong. It makes more sense
And
that
also,
the
too, yeah,
sun is going below the clouds, going below the horizon, and hitting the bottom of the clouds and making it
yeah,
illuminate a beautiful pink hue.
yeah. And these experiments that they're doing, what are they doing these experiments with?
What experiments? I'm sorry. Say it again, buddy.
When they're trying to simulate this phenomena, what are they using to try and
As
replicate?
far as far as what, like a simulation, as far as like
Yeah, yeah,
computer generated?
well,
No,
no,
no, I think
well,
he's talking about like that experiment
Oh,
that Chris did in
oh
his
yes,
garage.
Chris Berry. Yes. Okay,
yeah,
I'm sorry. Yep.
like what Chris has used,
All
right,
right. So Chris
or
Berry.
what Carlos has used, right?
Yep.
They're just
Okay.
using torches, guys, right? They're just
Well,
using torches. Now, to me, a torch is light, right? But it's not nowhere near as powerful as what the sun
well,
is.
Bandsaw Bandit. We're talking about scale now, because if you
Yes,
use a torchlight, yep, yep.
exactly right. Now,
Yeah.
now what Chris Berry did and what Carlos did, right? Now, did he scale it, say, in proportion with a sun on the
Right.
flat Earth consensus side, being the size of what the sun is and the distance of what the sun is away? No, he
Right.
didn't. He didn't do that, right?
No.
Now, did Chris Berry do that? No, he didn't. So none of these people are actually even doing um, experiments that are trying to
Valid.
replicate
Yeah. No.
the
You're right.
reality they're trying to prove or
Right.
disprove.
But what happened though? You're 100% right, man. I agree with you all
Yeah.
the way. But what happened though is Chris Berry's experiment was shown to be invalid because what Carlos and B-ball for life B-ball for life what they did is they actually recreated the same experiment using the same shit. They just did it right. Because
Mm.
Chris Berry was being dishonest when he did his experiment.
Oh yeah, like,
Okay.
and I'm not
Yeah.
trying to defend Chris Berry at all, right? I'm not
Oh
trying to
no,
hear.
no, no,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I know
yeah,
that. Yeah,
yeah.
I with the whole scale thing. Yep, I agree with you 100%.
It was
But
like
Chris
what we
Berry
were
was
talking
being
about.
very
Yeah,
disingenuous and very
mm,
dishonest with his experiments, man.
yeah.
100%. If you go
It, wa-
back through his video and watch the whole thing, and then watch Carlos do his experiment, then watch B-Ball do his experiment, yeah, it's very easily created. What we see on Earth is very easily created through what Carlos showed and B-Ball showed.
yeah,
What Chris Berry showed was disingenuous. Man, he lied.
mm,
He didn't
mm-hmm.
hold the light source. The light source was supposed to be above the clouds, and he didn't. He brought it down below the clouds,
Yeah. It
and
was like
and and he taped
what?
his paint stick onto the bottom of the clouds. What the
Yes,
fuck,
yes,
man?
yeah. No, no, no. I get that, but it was like what Darryl was talking about yesterday. It all comes back down to scaling. Like I'm not
Hmm.
seeing any of these experiments done with scaling. Now, Fight the Deception was saying you can't get a shadow smaller than its object. Well, okay then. Have you scaled it? You know, have you scaled that object down, and have you scaled your light source up? Right, and also too, you know, the light source has to be representation of the sun too. You can't just
Right.
go down to your local hardware shop and buy an LED torch, for argument's sake, and say this is the sun, because it's not a fair representation
Hmm.
of
No.
what is out there, and that's a and like the I see this all the time in any of these experiments. Nothing is a fair representation of what they're trying to either prove or disprove by doing these experiments. You know, nothing even really comes close to, I don't think, um, to try and replicate exactly what we are seeing.
Yeah, man, I gave up on scale a long time ago with flat earthers, man. I really did.
Yeah, but it's an important point, though,
It
Jimmy.
is
Scale
no,
is a
I
very
I
important
agree,
point.
and I agree. All right. So if you were to take the sun as a basketball, right? Let's
Yep,
pretend the sun's a basketball, right?
yep.
And then let's say if you scale that down to like the moon, I don't know what that would actually be. All right.
Here
So
we go. We'll
fuck
do some.
fuck. All right. Pretend this. Fuck. Who
How?
cares about the size of the sun, the size of the moon, and the size of the earth? If you take a basketball, right, and then take a tennis ball and back away. Take the basketball and then take a tennis ball, put it in your hand, and back away from the basketball. Keep backing away, and then put the tennis ball down on the ground, and then look at it straight on. At some point, they will look the same size. At one point, they will look the same freaking size. But while looking at them both, they will look the same size.
Mm,
So you put the basketball down, you put the tennis ball down, and you back away. At one point,
mm-hmm.
they will look the same size. Why is that difficult to flat earthers to understand it? They always say, "Oh, 400 times bigger and 400 times smaller, you know, the moon into the sun." And then but it's very easy. You take a basketball and then put a tennis ball separate from each other and back away. At one point, they will look the same size. That's it. It's just
I think.
scaling down. It's a scale thing.
Yeah, I think they were talking about the shadow being smaller.
And maybe I'm missing the
Oh
positioning
yeah.
you're saying, C4. Are you saying you put the basketball and the tennis ball both down and walk away from both of them?
Okay, yes, I am saying that, but there has to be a distance between the basketball and tennis ball before you can walk away from it
That's
and
what you're
see it
saying.
the
I
same
got you.
size. Yep, yep, yes, and
See,
eventually, yeah, exactly, exactly.
how do you do an experiment with something in reality in in our reality, when you are talking about something that is 4.5 million kilometres in circumference, being the sun, right, compared to the Earth, which is 40,000 kilometres in circumference.
Oh my
Right,
gosh, dude. Listen, man, I'm
that's a
American,
pretty
dude. I'm American.
okay. Then. So we're talking 25,000 miles for the Earth, and that would
Yeah.
be about, I don't know, maybe 3 million miles
Right. So the I
in
don't know the
kilometre. Like
circumference of the
scaling
sun.
that to me is almost impossible.
Why?
Well, it's just the scale of it all, Jimmy. It's just the scale of it. Like, how do you actually scale that
Okay.
up? Like
Have
a
you
pinhead, if you were to do a 1-to-1 scale, right?
Mhm.
And one millimeter is equivalent to the Earth's circumference, right? So
Mhm.
all the way around the Earth, it's 1 millimeter. Then you then have 4 million millimeters. Now, can you actually do a fair representation, a fair
All right.
experiment with
Well,
those sort of figures in mind, if you know what I mean?
yeah, I do know what you mean. And
So,
you almost have it there, man. All right. Yes. Okay. So listen. Picture a ping pong ball. A ping pong ball.
yes.
Okay. And then picture a giant beach ball. And then measure them both, and then you'll probably get pretty close from what the Earth is to, well, not even a beach
No,
ball,
no,
something bigger.
you're not even close. You're not even close, Jimmy. You're not even close.
You're
So,
trying to tell me that I can't picture the circumference to the sun's circumference?
yeah, but what I'm talking about, the scale of it. I'm just
All
talking the
right,
scale,
yeah.
buddy. The
All
scale.
right, so then you already got it, man. You said I'm not close, so then you tell me what it is.
Well, you're looking at, if you were to do something in millimeters, 1 millimeter represents the
What is a millimeter, dude? I'm
Earth.
sorry. Is that an inch?
Okay, it's like, no, it's a 1/32 of an inch. All right.
Okay, 1/32 of an inch. Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
yeah, thereabouts. All right, off
Mm-hmm.
the top of my head, I could be slightly wrong, but we'll go with that, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which is which is 4 kilometers, which is about 3 mile. So you've got a 32nd of an inch, right? Your object, and being the Earth, and then the sun has to be 3 miles. That's the scale you're talking about.
All right.
You
So
see
what?
you see where I'm coming from? You can't
No.
use a ping pong ball
Okay.
and
Yes. All right. No.
and a
No. No.
basketball because the scaling's all out. It's
No.
not
All right.
close.
I understand what you're saying, but I wasn't.
Yeah,
All right. I understand what you're saying, but
yeah.
no. What I'm saying is that you can put a basketball and then a baseball or ping pong ball, whatever, or what did I say? A basketball and a
Beach ball.
beach. No, I said basketball and a baseball, and then you
Yeah.
can put them a certain amount of distance, and then walk away from that distance, and they will look at the same size. That is a fact. All right. Eventually,
Oh yeah,
you'll get them
no, yeah.
right.
I'm not saying that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
what I was talking about. What you're
I see
talking
what. Yeah,
about, right? What you're
yeah,
talking about is two different things. You're talking
yeah.
about putting you're trying to make the size of the Earth to the sun in a scale. Yes, that's I can't. Man, what? How the fuck would I even calculate that? Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
like
to
all
the
I'm telling
sun
you
to the Earth
is the
would be fucking
scaling.
like a grain of salt to the fucking a grain of salt to the an orange, I guess. Like, you know what I mean? Like
No. It's even bigger than that. It's like it's three
no,
miles. A grain of salt compared to 3 miles. That's the scale you're talking about.
no.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Say it again. A grain of salt to the orange?
Yeah, that's the
What's
scale you're
closer to
talking
you, by
about.
the way, the big ball or the small ball?
The
Small.
small ball.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So listen. How about this? All right.
Okay.
You can fit a little more than a million Earths in the sun. All
Exactly.
right. Okay. Can you fit more than 1,000,000 grains of salt into an orange?
I don't know. Can you?
I'm asking you.
I don't know. I
Okay.
don't know. I've got no idea.
Right. In my
We
head, I would
could
say, yeah, but
we
I
could
don't know, right?
we could Google it.
We could Google it.
We could Google that one and find out.
The diameter of the sun, what is about? It's almost 1,000,000 miles, right? It's like 866 something thousand miles, right? So it's almost 1,000,000 miles across. So the sun
No,
is fucking gigantic to compare to Earth. But do you understand or realize that there are other stars out there that are fucking 10 times bigger than the sun?
yeah, but we're just talking about the sun.
No,
Let's
I know.
keep it
I
in
want to throw
our
that out there because
let's
in
keep
my
it
head.
in our galaxy.
Okay. All right. You're right. Yeah, yeah. No, I understand. But isn't that but to think about what I just said, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, no, it
That
is
there
amazing, Jimmy. It
right.
is for
That's
sure.
so friggin' amazing, man. That that
100%.
that there are other stars out there that
Yeah,
make our sun look smaller than the Earth.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
no, no. Exactly. When you're talking scale, like scale is just a mind blowing thing when it comes to the galaxy, the universe, and
Well, yeah,
all
it's
that
like
sort of
quantum
stuff.
mechanics again. Yeah, it's
And
like
I
yeah.
reckon there's got to be an end to it as well. I don't think it can just go on forever. I think
Well,
there's got to be an end.
so you're saying there's like a wall?
Well, I don't see this infinite. It goes on forever. Like that is just a mind blowing thought, really.
It really is.
Like you think it just like goes on forever and ever and ever.
Well, I don't think
Like
it goes on
that.
forever. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, buddy. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. Like just thinking about it never ending. Like we're brought up in a reality where things end. There's a start point and a finishing point, right? Whether it's in a room or a ruler or in a city, on a road, on a country, a continent, whatever. There's a start point and a finishing point to everything. The thought that there is no finishing point at what we're looking at above our heads is just mind blowing.
Hmm.
And really, it is just and
No,
like
I
I,
get you, man.
and like what I was trying to say. Um, well, I wanted to say to Scotty when he was on the earlier stream, and I wanted to agree with Scotty too because I've looked simplistically at the stars and a couple of the planets through a very simple telescope. And to me, right, they do look like lights. I wanted to agree with him there. But that's on a very simplistic level. Like it
Hmm.
was only a cheap telescope that I looked through. It didn't look like what he was saying. It didn't look like terra firma. Like the moon looks like it's terra firma, like it's Earth, like it's made of something other than just light. But for me, when I'm looking at Venus or something like that, it looks to me just like a light in the sky. It doesn't look like terra firma. It doesn't look like it has any substance. I haven't looked at it through a decent telescope like yourself. I think Darryl has. You have Darryl,
Yes,
haven't you?
yes, I have.
Yeah, and it looks more substantial than just a light, yes?
Oh, definitely.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
like I
And then
said.
again, and then like I said before when you were talking about this, buddy, I've looked at the Saturn and
Yes.
Jupiter through a very powerful telescope,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
right, yeah, and
And
if you
I
go
haven't
ahead,
had that. I haven't had that opportunity, to do that. But this is something I wanted to explore with Scotty too, right?
right.
Um, and I wanted to explore what he's looking at. He's just looking at lights, twinkling lights in the
Well,
sky.
he's
And
not looking at anything, man.
no, no,
He's
no, no. But the way I wanted to explore it with him is like him and I. We can, because he's just around the corner from me. We can tonight. It's a pretty full moon. We can both look at the moon tonight, all right? And just with our naked eye, right, without anything else, just with your naked eye, you can see texture on the moon. You can see
Yes.
little craters, you can see shadows, you can see slight lines,
Yep.
which to the naked eye, not through anything else, but to the naked eye, gives the moon some sort of depth, right? It makes it look like a hemisphere. If nothing else, it looks like a hemisphere, okay? So to think that the moon is a sphere because what you're looking at with your naked eye gives you the perception that it's a hemisphere, to think that it's a sphere isn't a great leap, really, to think that it is a sphere up there. So if we can see with our naked eye a sphere above our head, why then isn't what we're standing on here a sphere as well? Now, what it could be a sphere.
It could well be, but
Yeah, no, and this is what I wanted to explore with him a little bit as well, because the moon isn't a twinkling light in the sky. You can see that with your naked eye. It's not.
You're talking rationally and logically, though. I've heard flat earth believers say that the moon is a light too, and it emits its own light. So you're
Yeah.
speaking as a logical, rational person who looks at something in the sky and acknowledges it what it is, but that's not enough for a flat earth believer. I
that's
was
right.
watching it.
No,
Huh?
yeah, you're
No, you're
right
right.
there, and you know that I was on the flat Earth side there, Darryl,
Hmm.
right? Um, and looking at things, I I looked at things simply. Like I said, the whole water is flat thing, like very very simple, but it's on
Hmm.
a very
Hmm.
very very local level. Water is flat, right, and level, and it finds its own level, and we've all pretty much experienced that. When we go outside and we look around, things look pretty. Apart from the terrain itself, what we experience seems fairly flat and fairly motionless because we only feel acceleration or deceleration. You don't feel a constant movement. Um, and I think they're very basic arguments. But to me too, the moon is another basic argument that I think that a lot of them just want to like ignore because you can see texture on it with your naked eye that gives it depth. And I've heard that the moon is a self-illuminating object in the sky. I don't
Hmm.
see that. When
Right.
you see the phases of the moon, well, it's like the moon would have to have a very distinct lampshade over it, covering a quarter, an eighth of it,
Right.
side of thing, and
Bandsaw,
completely cutting it out. Sorry, mate. Yep.
if you were a flat earther to this day, could you prove to me or give me, I'm sorry, give me evidence that the moon is a light source?
No, not at all.
Hmm.
Not at all. Not at all.
I was
Not
watching
at
Sean
all.
Hawkins stream. He was watching those people at doing that activism,
Yes.
and they said it
Yep.
was a disc.
Yeah.
They said it could be a
Yeah.
disc, or either it is a disc or it could be a disc because it's just round. It's just round. You can't see. It could be a disc. So
Well, by saying it's round, it means it's not a disc.
what do you
Well,
mean? Like,
yeah.
let's say, at least it sounded to me like they're saying if you have a round plate and you're looking at it straight on, all you can really see is that it's round, but it's a plate, but it's flat. You know
Yeah,
what I
because
mean?
they think it doesn't, right, because they don't understand how the moon actually works. They don't understand it. They think it's yes, it's facing us all the time, but
Hmm.
it definitely rotates. It takes 27 or 28 days to do
Hmm.
so.
But that disc that is round in the sky has texture on it,
That's right.
and
But
that
that was my point, though. Even though you can see
yeah,
the texture, they still call it a flat disc.
Yes, but
yes,
not only that though, you can on certain times you can see beyond the disc. What the fuck's it called? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to swear.
Hmm.
There's a name for it. Oh, for heck's sakes, I'll have to get back to you guys on that. But when the moon it wobbles. Ah, crap! But you can see more than just a disc.
Oscillates. You can see,
Oscillates. Yeah,
yeah, you can see
yeah.
52 or 53%
50,
of the
right,
moon.
yeah, you can
But
see more
yeah,
yeah, so you can actually see that
yeah,
it's not a flat disc. You
yeah.
can actually see that it's a Sophia. It's a Sophia. It's a
What we actually
sphere.
look at any one particular time is only about 47 or 48% of the moon, right?
Yeah.
But we actually, over a period of time, because it oscillates, we see about 52 or 53% of the moon's surface.
Yep. That's what I was talking about. Thank you,
Yeah,
Bandsaw.
yeah. But you can definitely see, even if that is just a flat disc, well, someone has done a pretty good paint job on it to give it some sort of texture and some sort of
Well,
depth.
and then if it's just a flat disc, that would be wrong right away. I mean,
Yeah, no,
because
it's
if I'm on one part of the Earth, and then someone else is on the other part of the Earth, whether it's flat or not, they would see two different things. Like they would
yeah,
see more or less of one side,
yeah.
or you know what I mean, what they're seeing.
Like, the moon could be made up of cheese. Who
Hmm.
Oh,
knows?
I love moon cheese, dude. I love
Really.
moon
But
cheese. Yeah,
see,
I put moon cheese on
I'm
my
still,
BLTs all the
yeah.
time.
Well, see, as you know, Jimmy, I'm still sketchy about the whole moon landing myself.
Right. Oh, I know that, and
Yeah, yeah.
I wish you'd get away from that because, man, I appreciate
Well,
you. But hold on, I have to. Can we backtrack a little bit?
yeah, go for
Uh,
it, man. Back
yeah,
wherever
let's
you want to
backtrack a
go.
little bit.
Yeah.
You were saying something about the universe expanding, right?
Well, no, I'm saying no. I never said it was expanding.
Oh,
Just the
okay, go ahead.
concept of it being infinite and never ending. Not that
All
it's
right. So
expanding, like
what
there's
is
no
never?
end point to it.
All right. So what is never ending?
Well, like, there's no end point. There's no finish line.
Okay. So you have a hard time picturing that, or what?
That there is like no finishing line, like no, yeah, exactly. Like the concept of what it just goes on forever,
Right.
right?
So,
Like
all right.
that is
So
just a mind blowing for anyone on the
no,
flat
I
Earth side
understand.
or the globe,
Right.
like that,
I
if you were to have a spaceship, right, that could go at a 20 gazillion light years a second, right, and you never actually hit the end of it, like to me that is just mind blowing, and it's got to be mind
right.
blowing to anyone that we're kind of told that this universe like just goes on forever. Like that's just a mind blowing thought.
Well, I guess no one really knows, but why? I understand why it's mind blowing because it is definitely mind blowing. But
Yeah,
why? But why is it mind blowing? Because for me, it makes sense to me. Like the universe itself is expanding, and
yeah,
there's right. So when I look, like if I were to picture the universe in my head, I see all these. I see a bunch of little dots that are galaxies, and they're all moving away from each other or expanding. Okay, that's what I see. Like when I picture that, they're all moving away. But who says that the plane that they're on ends? I mean, it could go on forever.
so
Like,
are you saying that the universe is on a plane?
no, no, no. I said that wrong. I'm sorry. Um, I meant it. It does. The universe could go on forever. No, the universe
Like
could go on forever. Like
yeah,
if they're on their path, right? They're all right.
yeah.
So, do you agree that there's galaxies out there?
Well,
Other galaxies?
there's something out there. Most definitely, you can see it
Well,
with your naked eye.
you can see
I can
Andrometer.
see. Well,
You can see
I can see
Andromeda
the
with your
Milky
naked
Way.
eye.
Right, I can see the Milky Way. Right, it's absolutely spectacular when you're in the middle
Right.
of
All right. So,
Australia. Looking at it is
Bensa,
spectacular. Yep.
yes, you 100%.
Yep.
To view the Milky Way is and beautiful thing to look at. But that's just the spiral arm of our Milky Way. So that when you look at that, you're looking at our galaxy. That's just the spiral arm of but you can also see with your naked eye Andromeda, which is a galaxy that is very, very, very far away.
Yeah.
All right, that galaxy is actually coming towards us. But there's other galaxies and everything else that are moving away from us, and we can view that through infrared stuff, whatever. But so everything's moving away from us. What contradicts the end of our universe, or why don't you think that it just keeps going?
Why do I think that? Well,
All right, how about this? All right, how about this?
I think there's got to be an end to it. Like, as you're talking about, it doesn't matter what direction you head. We start off here on Earth, right? And we're in our little spaceship. Doesn't matter what direction you go in, Jimmy. Doesn't matter what direction. You are never going to hit the end of it.
Yes. Okay.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, that is, like, just that. Like, you are never, it doesn't matter what direction you take off in, you will never hit the end of it. Like, to me, that just is just a mind-blowing kind of concept. Like, it just goes on for...
It's like being on a road.
Infinity.
You're in a car. It's like being on a. It's like being in a car that you're on a road that never ends. Right? Is that what you're saying?
Pretty much. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Yeah.
Okay. Right. But we all don't know, so like it doesn't really matter in the end. Like, for me, like it makes sense to me that could happen. Like that the universe is just expanding at a very fast rate, and who says there's a wall? Who says that we have to end at some point?
See, like when you say
we're all
expanding,
cars.
Jimmy, but like when you say expanding, you are giving it a kind of a living, breathing entity. Like it's growing. Like the galaxy was born as a baby, and every single year it gets a few inches taller and a few inches wider and puts on a few extra pounds, and it's just growing and expanding like all the time. It's like this living, breathing thing that is just expanding all the time.
Can y'all think of any way you might be able to establish one way or the other?
Sorry, Darryl?
Can y'all think of any way you might be able to establish one way or the other?
Yes. Well,
go ahead,
yes.
Bandsaw.
Well, the only way I think you could establish it is by maybe experiencing that through alien contact to give you a perspective from where they've come from and what they're experiencing. Like for us to work that out ourselves, I think that's pretty impossible. But you know, if we could experience some alien contact and education on the matter, I think that there could be a way of determining exactly what it is and if it is growing or if there is an end.
Well,
I think. Sorry, Jimmy. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, dude. Oh man, I'm sorry. I don't mean to step on your toes, brother.
Right.
There is a way to tell that things are moving away from us. All right. I'm not educated on this, but you know, we all can look it up and maybe we can find out together. But we can look at the blue shift and red shift. All right. Of objects in our atmosphere. What? Yes. Retract that. No, not in our atmosphere. I didn't mean to say that. We can all look at objects in the night sky, and they look at them through different things, and they can see a blue shift, a red shift. Then one or the other means they're going away from us, or they're not going away from us. And most things are going away from us at a certain speed. Now, that's the scientific consensus on it. That doesn't mean it's true. I have no idea. I'm just going by what they say. I've never
Hmm.
calculated
Okay,
that
then.
stuff for ourselves.
Now,
But
you, yeah.
go ahead.
So if we can establish something is moving away from us,
Hmm.
all right, how does that then mean that the universe is growing, expanding? Just
Well,
because
I would
that,
imagine because
just because that object is moving away from us, doesn't mean that the universe is necessarily expanding.
no, no, dude, you're right. You're 100% right. I don't. I'm only going with what the sign consensus is. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know, and I don't think anybody really knows. We do experiments, and we have very precise instruments that can calculate these type of things. So I'm going on what they say. It doesn't mean that they're right, and doesn't mean fuck all to me. Like until we can prove this shit. You know what I mean? Like I'm just going what they say, on what they
Yeah.
say.
What do you think, Darryl? How do you think we can
Well,
work out?
the mind is bigger and more powerful than any scientist or extraterrestrial. So I actually had an experience where I existed as the mind that's dreaming the universe, and I perceived the
Mm.
universe as finite. It was actually very small and finite compared to the mind that's dreaming it. So in my experience, the universe is finite, both in time and in space and in existence. So in my experience, it's not an infinite thing.
So
Right.
in your experience, it's at some point it comes to an end.
Yes, it's on the verge of ending now. As a matter of fact, it's like basically an instant from disappearing. Even less
Gotcha.
than that, really. Seems like a long amount of time to us, but it's really just a decision away from disappearing.
Well, I would assume time in coordinates with things in space, our
Check.
our solar system, everything else. Time must be very relevant. I mean, or irrelevant rather.
You
I
saying
mean,
time must
time,
be very irrelevant in relation to what?
everything. Time in coordinates with space and all that other stuff. Time is very small, right? Like it's
I see what you're saying.
extreme.
Yeah, yeah. In other words, like we might think our 60 years is a long time, but the sun is alive for like a billions of years, right?
Right. Yes.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's all relevant. So this finite universe, Darryl,
Hmm.
is it a? It's a contained universe. Yeah.
Mm, what I say contained. I guess you could say contained. I guess that's a fair way to say it. It's contained within the mind that's dreaming it.
Oh my gosh, you just blew my fucking mind. What the
Yeah.
fuck?
No, 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 no. I want to explore this a little bit. Actually, I really do want to explore
Oh
this.
yeah,
Hmm.
no, me too. I was
You
just
you
saying
want
that
in,
was that
Jose?
was crazy.
Oh, let me know if you want in, Jose. I can give you the link. Keep on going.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No,
so you're
I want to
saying,
explore this a little bit.
yeah, me too, Bandsaw. So you're saying that it's contained. So at some point we reach the end of the expanding universe, or
Well, not necessarily. So you're thinking it from the perspective that the universe is a solid physical thing. From this perspective, it seems solid, but from the perspective of the mind, it's just a thought. It's just just
Mm,
a field of meaningless activity contained within the mind. So let's say if we was approaching the barrier of the universe as thoughts in the mind that's dreaming us, it could simply make another little area or something, or it's just a dream. It's not real. So
so is this subjective to each person?
no, in other words, each person is a thought in that mind as well. Like if you go
in
back
the
to what
greater mind.
yeah, exactly. Like if you go back to what Buddha said, at least he's quoted as saying there's only one mind in existence. It's something like
Yeah,
that. Awesome, awesome, Jose. Well, thank you for popping in. I appreciate it.
yeah. Hey, Jose.
It's like what Buddha was saying when he said there's only one mind in existence. So all of we seem to be. So in other words, from that perspective, as the universal mind, the self that I am right now was just a little speck amongst a field of specks. So we seem to be, our individual self seems to be important, and this table seems to be solid, and our job seems to be important, and our accomplishments and our failures, all that stuff seems important, but it's all just meaningless activity from the perspective of the mind. Just like when we wake up, just like when we're dreaming at night, right? And we could be dreaming about the most strange thing, like this pink elephant with wings just chasing us, and we like
Mm.
scared it's about to get us, and we about to die, right? And we just running for our lives, and then the dream changes, and we like on a fire engine racing to pull out a fire, even though we was never a man in our whole lives. And but all of this stuff seems real and important in our dream. But then when we wake up, it's just clearly it was just a dream. It's meaningless. We just go to work and do whatever we got to do, right? I mean, if it's
Yeah.
like a bad dream, it might stick with us for a while and we're like thinking about it. But give it a day and it's just a dream we forgot
It's
about.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
So that's
Yep.
how the universe is. From this perspective, it seems important, but from the perspective of the mind, it's just an illusion. It's just a dream. So um, we make it seem important, right? So that we could defend against the fact that is just a meaningless dream. So from this perspective, we think in terms of time and space, and is there a barrier to the end? But when you're dreaming at night and you're driving and you're going down the fire truck, in one from one perspective, the dream is contained within your mind. You're dreaming it, right? But within the dream, can you really hit a wall? I mean, if you think about it, it's your dream. You could make it go on forever from the perspective within the dream. But still, when we wake up, we know it was just a dream, and the dream disappears just like that. So it's like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, exactly.
Yeah, man.
It's got a Matrix kind of a feel to it.
Yeah,
It
well,
really
yes,
does.
I would say,
It,
yeah, yeah.
it really does. It
Hmm.
really does have a Matrix kind of a
I agree.
feel to it. Well, I think I've told you before, Darryl. My daughter thinks we're in a Matrix,
Yeah, I remember you said that.
and my daughter is actually, well, she's told me that she has had experience with aliens and stuff, um, and that we are just in a matrix, like a big dream, like someone is dreaming it.
Hmm.
Um,
Sounds. Did she have an
and
experience, or did she just come to this realization by intuition?
No, well, she had the experience with her alien contact probably
Mm. They
two or
told her
3 years
this.
ago. Yeah, look, I don't know. She has alluded to that. Um, that it's that what they've alluded to, that almost like we're, the way she's explained, like we are just a thought
Hmm.
in someone's head. That's
Yeah.
what she said. We are just a thought, and we are just a figment of someone else's imagination. She doesn't know whose imagination it is, but
Hmm.
we're all plugged in to this person's imagination,
Hmm.
and it's playing out. And this imagination can turn it on and turn it off at any particular time. And what we are experiencing, what we experience, um, like our life, what she has said, isn't even a thought.
Hmm.
It's not a millisecond of a thought in this person's mind, um, and it can be turned on and off at any particular time. Which is it's interesting. Actually, it is interesting. And her alien contact, she hasn't been taken up into a spaceship and probed or anything like that. She has just had discussions in, and I think it's more of a lucid dream that she's been having, and she can't make out any particular form. Because I said, what do they look like? She can't explain exactly what they look like, but she knows that they're not from this planet. Um,
And you
but they
and
are.
do you know where this
Sorry?
was taking place at, by the way? Was it in the house? Was it a different dimension?
No, she wasn't here. Yeah, it was like a different dimension
Hmm.
where she had this experience. Um, she wasn't. She said she wasn't even in this universe when she was having this experience. She was in another dimension,
Hmm.
um, and it was just an experience. There was nothing physical, she said, or with anything. There was nothing physical at all. Um, it was like she was just floating
Hmm.
in nothingness.
Sounds like an out of body experience.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? It does it. I encourage her to roll with it. Actually, I really do. I encourage her to roll with it. Um, it's not crazy. She's far from crazy. I can tell you that right now. Far from crazy.
Hmm.
But it is interesting. Um, and this is completely from her. This is nothing influence from anyone else. This is her own personal experience, and she speaks about it very very passionately. Um, there's no reason to disbelieve her,
Hmm.
at all, at all. Mm.
My experience is many people around the world are beginning to come uh, more aware of such truths at a more, I guess I can't say an accelerated pace, but this is just more prevalent now than it's been in the past. But cool, guys. I enjoyed talking with y'all on this impromptu. I need to give me some sleep so I can wake up tomorrow.
Sounds like a good idea.
Hey, man.
Thanks for
Hey,
the chance, buddy.
You're welcome.
thanks, man, Daryl. I really wanted to talk to you about what you were saying the other night.
Okay,
Last night, I'm
I could take
sorry,
some time to do that.
I was bouncing around. I'm sorry, dude. No, you know what? I'll say what I say. I'll say what I'm gonna say, and if you, you
I'll
know,
tell you what,
if
to
you,
the bottom of the hour.
okay, uh, okay. So last night I was bouncing around, and then you were talking about that. You're talking about aliens, and then going on their ship and going to
Hmm.
the, yeah, man. That all right. All right, so I would like to talk about that at some point. We don't have to do it tonight. We can, maybe get together and do it another time.
Oh, sounds good. Okay, what
Yeah.
about why don't we plan for? Damn, it's Wednesday already, Tuesday already, ain't it? What day you want to plan
Yeah.
for? We could just set up a time in the day.
Oh man. Yeah. Honestly, it doesn't matter to me. This can just be a private conversation, or it can be public. It doesn't matter. Like I am. I'm not trying to debate you on this
Oh, the
stuff.
same.
I'm
Yeah, yeah.
just I'm interested. I'm very interested on that.
I don't mind streaming it as well. Then it is not anything I haven't spoken about in public already. Give me a moment. I'll pull something up for you.
Yeah, man. Again, like on when you were talking about that stuff, I was bouncing around. I didn't really hear much of it. So I would like to, to learn about your experience and what you have
Yeah.
Hmm.
to think about that. Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Let me I'll hit you up to because I actually plan on writing a book specifically about ET contact. I've already if you see the book that's flashing on the screen once whenever I'll travel far, that talks about it a little bit. But I actually I've given a few talks about either OBE or um, uh, astral projection and things like that before. So give me a moment, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
So I'll go your channel, and it's this video right here that's actually right on my page. And actually, hold up here, videos. All my challenges are extraterrestrials visiting Earth. So in this video here, this is a talk that I gave in Louisville at the public library, and basically I give you my backstory how I got into the ET experience. I do talk specifically about the experience where I got on the craft and I went through the solar system. My friend actually took a videotape of the craft on his cell phone. Um, and I talk about some other experiences as well. I talk about I give talk about different cases that happened around the world. I also show some video clips of different sightings. Like there's certain race of extraterrestrial beings um, that have this walnut-shaped craft. I've expanded that video recently. Like if you go through the videos on my channel, I've expanded that video as well as added some other ones I think as well. So on now I'll give you this link here, and you can check this out, and I'll put this in the stream chat as well. And what about Thursday or Friday? We can get together and we could just talk about it and expand upon it.
Yeah, man. Absolutely, dude. I'm very interested in all that. Uh, you, when you were saying what you were saying the other day, it blew my mind. I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. I wasn't expecting that,
Hmm.
so I was kind of caught off guard. You know, we were talking about flat Earth. Are you talking to that guy?
Hmm.
What was his name?
Yeah, yeah.
I think,
Fight
Fight
the
the
deception.
deception. Yeah, the way that
yeah,
happened
fight
is
deception.
like,
Yeah,
cause you know they don't. It seemed to me, from my perspective, that he was trying to basically invalidate any evidence we give him, right? So he started saying, well, who's been to space and seen the other planets? Is all a belief? Is all a religion? Who do you know who's been
Yeah.
to space? Who do you know who's been to other planets? So
right.
then I had the choice to either lie about it or tell them the truth. And I'm not going to lie about it. It's
Yeah.
not something I really go around advertising so much because you're not going to believe it anyway. And it's not something I can necessarily prove to you. I could just share the experience with you. I can show you how to have the experience yourself, but most people are not interested in doing that. So I went ahead and answered him, and that's how we got on the subject. So he was like, well, who do you know that's been to space? Well, I've been to space. So, and then he got
Right.
really quiet after that.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
mentioned that when he said he didn't want to talk to me anymore. Me and Bandsaw was talking about how I asked him on his channel. I asked him, let's go, because he mentioned in the video something about when I was telling him we was talking about the government, he was like, well, you haven't seen the evidence. He was trying to say that lady was basically a pawn of the government. She just believed in the government
Yeah.
stuff. And I was saying, no, she did her own individual research. And he was like, well, if I showed you proof about the government excuse me, about science and how science is not real science and it's false science. So I said, look, I'm willing to see the evidence. So I asked him, are we going to meet? And he gave this long explanation, and part of it was, oh, you said you've already been out of space, so you're not going to accept anything I say about the flat Earth. And so, yeah. So, but he is right, though. I mean, if you've been to space, then there's nothing you can say. It's like those astronauts that come from the space station. They could talk about they could talk about the Hammurabi and all that stuff all they want and wires and whatever they want to talk about. The dude's been to space. what you,
Mm.
Right.
what you
Right.
gonna say? So I mean,
Yeah.
Right.
we could say he's lying all we want, but that person knows there's nothing you could possibly do to tell the people who is on the space station right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Exactly,
so I
man.
can see why
Yeah.
he don't want to talk to me anymore, because But again, that's why I don't mind talking to him about this other stuff. But I mean, um, but
Hey,
yeah.
man, you got a great channel, man, and you
Yeah.
present yourself like the way you have your format is, and the way you do your thing, man. It's really good, man, and I appreciate it and thank you.
You're welcome, man. I appreciate you saying.
Mm.
And
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah, go ahead and check that out, man. Let's get together Thursday or Friday, and I'll give you whatever details you want.
Oh yeah, man. I'm just interested. It's not like again, I'm not trying to combat whatever you're
Oh, no
trying to say,
problem. I
man.
understand.
I just want to learn, and I'm very interested because, listen, I'm gonna be honest, man. Like space is like to go out of space, like to travel outside of our solar system and all that stuff. Like that is like a dream for me.
Hmm.
Like you know what I mean? Like yeah, I would go on a one-way trip to Mars, but to go outside our solar system and just travel, even though it would take a long time to get to the next, celestial body,
Hmm.
like I'm down with that, man. Like that's my thing, you know.
I don't know if I'd take a one-way trip to Mars. Don't
Why
know if I'd
not?
do that
You
because
only
I've
have
got
one fucking life here, man. Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to be
why?
the first
I,
person?
very, very simple, Jimmy. Very,
What?
very simple. All right, because I've got kids, man. I'd like to
Oh
see them
man,
again.
I know. All right, so all right, yeah, all right.
All right, all
Yeah.
right. Come on, man. You want to see your son again? Come on, man. So you
Yes,
can't take a
yes, yes,
one-way
yes. I
trip.
know. I have a son too. I know you got like 23 of them, friggin' Bandsaw. But yes. But
I
to be
know.
honest, though, all right, Bandsaw, be honest. If
Yeah.
someone were to say to you right now,
Yeah.
you can travel to Mars, spend some time on there, but you'll never come back to Earth, would you do it?
Never come back to Earth?
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't do it.
What about if they said you can take your kids and your family with you?
Oh, in a heartbeat, yeah. In a
Yeah, but
heartbeat.
that's unrealistic, though.
Yeah,
All right, so all right,
Oh,
that's 100% unrealistic.
yeah. In every movie, like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, what happened?
Right.
no. Because my family's everything, guys. My family's
No,
anything.
all
I don't
right,
want to leave them
Bandsaw,
behind. Come
Bandsaw.
on.
I understand that,
Yeah,
100%. Listen,
exactly.
if I were to like, if somebody were to like, if I were to have this opportunity to go to Mars, take the 6 months there, 9 months there, and whatever, and
Yep.
stay on. Right. Anyways, but if I were to take that opportunity and I were to ask my family, "Hey, are you guys okay with this?" Everybody's gonna say no, but my son will probably say yes because he's a very scientific person. He just won the scientific mind of his class.
Yeah, no, I saw that, man.
Yeah, you
Props
saw that.
to
There you
him.
go.
Congrats.
So yes. Well,
Yeah.
it's not of his class. It's of his grade. He won the scientific mind of his grade.
Either way it goes,
So
he's certain to not be a flat earther. Keep going.
no, yeah. At his age, he'll definitely fucking destroy flat earthers.
Not,
But
not,
anyways,
not, not with Jimmy on his back, anyway.
right. But my son would probably be like, "Dad, go for it. Get on Mars. Be the first person on Mars. And you know what? I love you. I'll never see you again. But do it. Like that would be his thing. Like that's his mind.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Dad. You be the first
Yeah.
person on Mars. I love you. I'll never see you again. Hugs,
Yeah.
kisses. But do it.
Oh, look, if we could do it and come back, right?
Well, eventually we
In
can.
a heartbeat, right?
Eventually, that will happen. Bandsaw
Yes.
Bandit. Unfortunately, we will never see that in our lifetime. I don't think.
No,
Well, definitely
no.
not yours.
Maybe
Definitely not
Blue
yours.
Origin, Blue Origin,
Yeah.
SpaceX.
Maybe.
You never
Well,
know.
yeah. Well, Bandsaw Bandit. He's already on his way out. So definitely not on his
Oh,
time.
no.
That's harsh.
I'm only joking, brother. I love you, Bandsaw. But Bandsaw, wouldn't that be so cool,
I've got another
man?
50 years of me at least, mate. At least.
Yeah.
I've got good genetics, mate. I've got very good genetics.
Well, no shit. You got 20 kids, man. Apparently, you got good genetics, dude.
Yeah, no, I've got grandparents that get to see the tongue, 100. So getting to 100 is pretty easy for me.
And how old are you now? 90? So you, all right, you're
90? Oh! I'm just I'm a baby, mate. I'm just 50.
I know. You're only like, what, 54?
No, 50, man. Don't bloody make me older than
I
what
thought,
I am.
all right. Well, I was close, man.
I'm just a baby.
54.
Just a baby.
50 years old and you got fucking 7 kids. Wow, good for you, brother.
And 1 grandkid and another one on the way.
Man, apparently you guys start very early over in Australia, huh?
Exactly. Well, we don't get very good TV reception here, so you got to entertain yourselves.
Yeah, you guys got no TV over there, so all you guys do is fuck.
Pretty much. It's.
I'm
but,
sorry, Darryl. I didn't mean to swear on your channel.
Do they really flag people for that or something?
What's that?
No, not
really?
that sort of stuff.
Ah.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
not
no.
Cuss words and stuff. Oh.
No.
Yeah,
I was being respectful
it's
to
just-
you. Yeah.
Oh, no,
other
no problem.
words,
Yeah,
other
don't
words
bother
they
me.
do. Yeah, other words they do flag.
Well, cool.
But
Awesome, guys. I'll set up something for us Thursday or Friday.
Sounds
Awesome,
like a plan,
man. I
right?
appreciate it, Darryl. Thank you very much.
Welcome. That'll be cool.
Too easy, mate. Next time.
Next
On the
time.
flip side.
Yeah, on the flip side.